Hello everyone, my name is Michael. In today's video, I'm going to show you how we can start accepting cryptocurrency in our Node.js application using the BCON Global API. Now, the great thing about BCON Global and why I like their service so much is that they are a non-custodial service. What that means is that the money you receive from your clients are going straight to your Bitcoin wallet or whatever cryptocurrency wallet you use. In other words, their service is just an interface and an API that connects to your wallet from their website. And when your clients make a purchase to your platform, they see your Bitcoin wallet in the invoice. And as a service, they don't have access to your funds and cannot influence them in any way. Now, another thing that I really like about this platform, and it's probably the best feature, is that they don't require KYC verification or any verification whatsoever. Whereas with almost every other cryptocurrency processor, they require you to do first KYC verification. They have to review your application and all sorts of stuff, which is a hassle. And they also require you to receive the funds on their wallets. Whereas with this platform, you will receive the funds directly on your wallet. Also, as you'll see, again, they don't have access to your wallet, and also the payment that you will receive from your clients will go directly to your wallet, and also all the funds are under your control. They don't have access to it. And as you'll see, there is no need to wait for the withdrawal of money. But just to clarify, when they mean withdrawal of money, it's because they charge a 1% fee for every transaction you do using their API. And in order to get that 1% fee, you need to add a balance on their platform. They don't take the fee from the transaction, but they take it separately from a balance you add on their platform. So again, that's a great feature. So as you'll see right here, low commission, they only take 1% commission, which is really good. Also, currently they support Bitcoin and BEP20, and the rest of blockchains are under development, so we are waiting for more blockchains soon. And also they offer a trial period, so you can test the first 5 payments before you enter any balance on their system. So you can test their service for the first 5 payments, and you don't have to enter a balance before you start testing. You will only have to add a balance after those first 5 payments. And again, as they say right here, they are not a bank or a payment system. They are not an intermediary. They just offer an API, so you don't have to worry about anonymity or legal restrictions. They don't have to review your application or review any verification or personal data. Now, the way that they are able to provide these amazing features is because BCON Global uses something called an xPub master key. Now, using your xPub master key, which is public, so it's okay for you to provide it to BCON Global. They are not able to access your funds or make any transactions using your wallet whatsoever. And now, using that xPub master key, which is public again, BCON Global is able to generate addresses from that that are connected to that master wallet, and they are able to provide you with a new address for each transaction each time. Now, as you'll see right here, and I'll have a link down in the description, this is a BCON Global article. As you see right here, by utilizing an xPub key, a fresh address is created for each new invoice in a web store payment. So every time we will create a new transaction, we will be creating a fresh address, and then what you will be able to do is send that address to your client that will basically either buy your product on your platform or make a payment on your platform or whatever. And then once your client makes a payment to that wallet, BCON Global is able to capture the details of that payment and send back that details on your platform, on your API that we will create. And then using that data, you can confirm the payment and do whatever you want in your system. For example, if you send a product, you will create a new address, send that address on your client on the front end, and say to your client, pay on that wallet X amount. And once that client pays that amount, then BCON Global sends a request like a webhook, or actually it is a webhook. So we will set up our webhook in our Node.js application, and using that webhook, we will receive data with that includes the amount that the client paid, to which wallet they paid, and the transaction ID. Not all wallets support xPub master key, only some of the wallets support it, like Electrum, which is available for desktop, Exodus. Here are some examples. Or if we scroll down, we also have blockchain.com, which is available for our web wallet. And some other. You can check this article, I'll have it down in the description. And you can check also, they have a tutorial on how to fetch that xPub key from your wallet. And also an example for blockchain.com. We will do it together. So make sure to use my affiliate link down in the description and sign up to the platform. I have also a link down in the description. And then we will click here, sign up. And let's create an account. Now, first of all, after you create an account, go here on platforms. And what we want to do first is create a store. Now, to create a store, first we have to provide a name. So let's say test, and also a tag. Again, let's say test. And then we have to provide our xPub key. Now again, I'll have a link down in the description on this article created by BCON Global on how to fetch that xPub key for many of the platforms like Electrum, which is really easy. For our example, I'll be using, scroll down here, blockchain.com, so you are able to see as well how to do it. But I recommend using a desktop wallet, which is safer and also doesn't require KYC verification like blockchain.com. But to make it easier to follow along, I'll just create a web wallet. Now, if you are using blockchain.com as well, follow along with me. So we'll click here on profile, wallets and addresses. We will click here on to manage our address, our Bitcoin address. And make sure you are using legacy. Same thing goes for the other platforms. And then you will click here, manage, and so xPub. Again, if you use any other platform, go here to the documentation or on the article, and they show you how to fetch that xPub wallet. And what we will do is copy this and paste it here. Now, after you paste it, it asks you to provide a sample receiving address. Now, how to do that is go back, and what you have to do is click here, add next address. It will create a new address. And then you will provide that address here. Don't provide your Bitcoin address. You'll have to provide the address created by your xPub key. And then you'll provide here the HTTP callback URL, which I'll show you in a bit how to create. So let's leave this for now and open documentation. Go here and then go on our API documentation. So as you'll see, the documentation is pretty easy to follow along. So first of all, we will be using the API key that we will get after we create the store. I'll show you in a bit how to get it. And we will use that to authorize our API. Next, let's skip balance, history, and transaction details or store list. And let's go straight to the new address. But you can review the documentation. Again, I'll have the link down in the description. for the other functionalities, but in this video we will only be reviewing the new address. So let's click here, and as you'll see, all we have to do is send a post request to this API here /address, and what this will return is, as you see right here, if it is a Bitcoin wallet, it will return a status and then the data, and the data includes a message and the address we created. So what you'll do after we create that address is you will, in a real world application, you will be sending this address on the front end to your client, and also you'll be sending data like the amount they should send and etc. And also you'll, in real world application, you'll be saving that address on your database. Now, once your client sends an amount on the wallet you created, what BCON Global will do is send a callback, or basically we will set up a webhook, and BCON Global will send data on that webhook every time we receive a payment in any address we create. And what that webhook will include in terms of data is the transaction ID, the address that was used for the payment. So essentially in a real world application, you'll be saving that address, and then once you receive a webhook, you will cross-reference the address on your database, so you are able to see for which user was this address used. For example, if you have a checkout for a client of yours purchasing a product from your platform, then once a user tries to check out, you'll create an address and save that on the database along with the checkout data. And once you receive that webhook, you'll get that checkout data using the address that we received from the webhook, the address that was used, which is unique for every transaction. And then you will update that checkout data, and for example, you'll update the status to completed or incompleted or failed or whatever. Also on the webhook data, we also receive the status. So if we go right here on the test payments, which I'll show you in a bit how we will use, if we go here on the payment status, you will either receive unconfirmed status, partially confirmed, or confirmed. Now, if you don't completely understand how this works, let's jump straight into the code and you'll understand it better as we integrate the API. Okay, so let's go here on our desktop and let's create a new folder. Let's call it BCON. Let's open this in terminal. And first of all, let's run npm init-y. Then what we need to install is, first of all, Express to create our API. And then we will be using Axios to send the request to the BCON Global API. There we go. So let's open this in Visual Studio Code or open it in any editor you like. And what we will do next is create a file called index.js. This will be our API file. And let's start first of all by requiring Express and also Axios. And then let's create our API, our app API. So let's do const app equals Express. Then we need to make sure we use express.json to be able to receive and send JSON data. And then next I'll create a value called API key, which will store our API key for our store. And then what we will do is create an Axios instance. And here we will define the base URL. So if we go back, let's copy here the base URL. And also we want to do the authorization here. So let's define the headers. And let's say authorization. And if we go back and we go on the top of the page, as you'll see, it requires to send and then the API key. So let's say that, and then here let's put our API key. And that's basically all we have to do for authentication. So first of all, we will be creating an endpoint where we will create a new address using the BCON Global API. So let's define our endpoint and let's name it checkout, or let's say create checkout. There we go. Okay, next what we will do is create a try catch, and here let's create the request we will send for creating an account or an address basically. So let's say const response, and then using our access instance, let's create a post request as we are requested to do here on the new address. As you'll see, it requests to do a post request on the /address endpoint. So let's do that. And what we will send back is the response.data. There we go. And in case this fails, what we will do is send a status of 500. And on our JSON, we will define the error. And if that fails, the BCON Global API responds like so. So in case this fails, what the BCON Global API sends is a status, and this status includes the error or the reason it failed. And then finally what we will do is let's define a port, and then let's listen to that port. There we go. So let's open terminal, new terminal, and let's run this. There we go. And let's use Postman to send a request. So let's say a post request. Again, you can use whatever you want, but I'm using Postman to test this out. And here, let's say HTTP localhost port 5000, and then our endpoint, which is /create checkout. So /create checkout. Now before we click send, as you'll see right here, we first need to create our store, and as you'll see, we require an HTTP callback URL. So what we have to do before we run it is create a webhook endpoint. So to do that, it's very easy. Let's do app.get, and let's say /webhook, and then whatever we receive from that webhook will be. Now, since we are running in localhost and this is not yet production, we need a way for BCON Global to send the data on our localhost application. And to do that, we will be using a service called ngrok. So if you search ngrok, download Windows or whatever your platform is, and click here download. This is a free service which allows you to get a public URL, which that public URL reroutes the data on your localhost URL. So click on your platform here, click download, and then once you download it, let's double click it to run it. There we go. So it will open the CMD, and what you have to do is type ngrok HTTP and then the port that you want to make global, actually that you want to create a public URL for. So we'll put port 5000, and as you will see right here, it creates a public URL. Of course, you need to create an account first, and once you create an account, you will get an API key. So using that API key, then you can use the ngrok service. And as you see, we just got a public URL which is forwarding the data back to our localhost 5000 URL. So let's copy this, and we will go back on our BCON Global form right here and paste that, and here we will type /webhook. So we will do, so basically we are forwarding this to localhost 5000, and then we want to define the endpoint that this should be forwarded to, and it is /webhook. And that's it. So let's click save changes, and then let's click on our platform or on our store basically. And as you'll see here, this is our API key. So let's copy this, go back to our code and paste it here. And that's it, our Node.js application is ready, so let's start testing it. So first of all, let's go back on our Postman and let's send the request. And there we go, so as you'll see, we get a status OK, and then we get on the data a message that the address was successfully created and also the address. So what you will be doing then is sending that address on your client. Now another great thing about this platform is that if we go here on test payments, we are able to make test webhook events without actually having to send real Bitcoin payments, which is something many popular providers don't have, crypto payment processors. And I don't know why they don't have it, because it's really important to be able to test it without actually having to send real payments. So yeah, that's a great feature they also have. So here to send fake webhook events, you'll click here on your store, then the amount you want to send. So let's say 2. So for example, if we have a Bitcoin wallet, let's say we are sending 2 Bitcoins, then the crypto address, so the one that we created, not the actual crypto address, but the wallet, the address we just created, the temporary one. And then the payment status we want to send. So let's say we want to send confirmed. So let's click send test payment. Oh, actually, forgot to run it. So let's do a node index and let's send it again. And there we go. So as you'll see, what we will be receiving from that webhook is the address, the status, so either a 0, 1, or 2. So of course, if we go back, 0 is unconfirmed, 1 is partially confirmed, and 2 is confirmed. And then finally, we get the TXC ID, which is the transaction ID. Of course, this is a fake one since this is a transaction, since this is a test transaction. And also the value, which is corresponding to the amount that we received in Bitcoin, of course, in this case. Now, another thing that you can see on the documentation here is that if we go right here, as you see, it says on the webhooks to match secrets for security. Now, for the test payments, I'm not receiving this value, but I assume on the normal payments, you will be receiving a secret key right here. So you need to make sure that the secret key you are receiving from the webhook matches the secret key, or basically your API key, to the API key that you get from the store, this one right here. I can do if data and then secret doesn't match API key, then we throw an error. Otherwise, we continue normally. Now this is very important because otherwise someone can send fake data and say, for example, that they paid X amount when they didn't in the reality. And that's it. That's how we can integrate this API to be able to receive cryptocurrency without any verification, with a very low fee of only 1%, and without the platform that providing that API having any access to our funds or to making any transaction with our wallets. So yeah, that's it for this video. Let me know down in the comments what you'd like to see next.